Hello everyone, Fanta here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today is not Tales from Retail. Today is a new series so far called College Chronicles. Tales from Retail wasn't even called Tales from Retail in its first couple of iterations, so who knows what this will turn into. I am still sick, unfortunately, but I cannot miss a Tuesday, and I have not missed a Tuesday in probably a year now. I don't know how long it's been since I haven't missed a Tuesday, but it's been a long time. And I want to keep it going and not let this sickness beat me. So hopefully my voice isn't too grating on the ears today as I discuss the intro to this new series. And if you guys don't like it, that's fine. I'll do something else. But I thought this would be an interesting thing to kind of keep things fresh. And I know people enjoy the stories that I tell and the different things I've experienced in my life, and people want them to keep going. But hearing about GameStop and Walmart every week, I'm sure is getting old to people. So, to jump right in, today's episode of College Chronicles is really what was expected before going into college. What was I told? What was I shown? And really the thing that college is built into, I mean, it's shaped and molded into this thing that you expect is going to be life-changing to you. You expect it's going to be something you're going to remember for the rest of your life. It's going to be just something phenomenal. It's going to be a really great time, and it's going to be lots of parties, lots of new friends, lots of new stories, and there are definitely stories, but I unfortunately didn't get the college experience that I was sold or the one that my parents hoped I would get. I was, we've all watched the movies like Animal House. I mean, I didn't want anything like that. I'm not a real party goer. It would have been nice to go to more parties than I did, but after the few parties I went to, I really realized that I'm not a crazy party person, I can't handle those kind of scenes. And I'm a bit more subdued than these crazy frat houses where drinking is going insane and people are screaming and yelling at each other and cops are getting called. And these are all stories I'm going to be covering during this series. It was kind of a dark time in my life, really. College. The end of high school into college, the beginning, middle, was some of the worst times of my life. I know I haven't had the most difficult life in the world, but, I mean, still allowed to have bad parts, right? And it wasn't this crazy awesome experience that I was hoping for. I didn't make tons of friends. I did, however, create stronger bonds with the friends I do have now. And I've always said this, and I still believe it, that it's better to have a couple of real friends than to have lots of fake ones that are only there just for using you for something. And you know what I mean. I'm sure you've had to deal with people like that. And sure, it does suck sometimes when you've got nobody, to go out and do anything with because you don't have a large plethora of friends, or once you get older and you're out of college like me, they all move, they move to where the money is. And that's what makes sense. That's what everybody does, So this is going to be kind of discussing my experience in college because I'm sure it'll be similar to what other people have experienced as well. But I think it'll also be a bit different because that college experience at the 4-year university, I lived in a dorm for the first year, but man, I was supposed to live in that dorm for all 4 years. That did not pan out. That did not pan out at all. And no real fault of my own, but my lord, that roommate I had definitely was a bad influence on me and my lord. I mean, he dropped out in the first couple weeks of school, and I basically had to deal with him until the second semester, or the first semester was ending, and they kicked him out because he wasn't in classes anymore. And then the second semester, I was just in there alone. So, and then having everything about 40 minutes away, everything was 40 minutes away, so I was rarely on campus, even though I lived there. So I'd have to be driving back to campus at around like midnight every night that I worked or wanted to hang out with my friends who still lived in the town that was, like I said, 30 to 40 minutes away. It was rough, it was really rough. And the thing is when you're going to college, a lot of these friends that you make in classes, they're like temporary friends. You really only have these friends while that class is still going on. Because I noticed a lot of these friends that I made, even if I hung out with them a couple times outside of class, they already had their core friends from high school. They already had their friends that they were going to go back and visit during the summer, because we had a lot of people that were coming from out of state. It's not the experience I hoped for, really. It was not I didn't expect it to be stress-free, but so many people look back on their college years and go, man, those are amazing. I don't. And I feel like I'm sure I wasted a lot of them, but when you've got a near full-time job, you've just got, you got to pay the bills. And that was that. I felt like I always had to have that full-time job and do school at the same time. Maybe I should have not had that job. Maybe I should have taken some sort of part-time job on campus. I don't know. But even though I didn't have the full college experience, I definitely did learn a lot. And hopefully during this series, I can kind of pass on some of my wisdom, some of my, help you learn from my mistakes so you don't make the same. That being said, I mean, a lot of the mistakes I made in college, I was told about before I went. So, but maybe because I'm not your parent, you'll actually listen to it. It's this weird thing where like your parents or loved ones or whatever will tell you some advice, and you'll like hear it, you'll get it, you understand it, you're like, oh yeah, definitely, of course I'll do that. But then for some reason, you're an idiot and you go make those mistakes anyway. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Unless you've followed through with all those things that people have told you. That's great. That's wonderful. I'm glad you didn't have to experience those kind of mistakes and the consequences that come with those mistakes. I just hope that I can kind of pass on some knowledge, bring some entertainment along with all this stuff. I don't want to be a complete downer. There were some fun times as well in college. And I'll probably get SBS here as well because we went to college together and we definitely had a lot of these experiences that I'll be discussing and these stories together. He knows pretty much the entire series, I'm sure. We've talked about college to no end. We've talked about everything. So because we went to the same school, because we had a lot of the same experiences, I think he'd be a great co-host. So that'll be good to have in the future episodes. And of course, they'll be coming back for, Tales from Retail, Golden Age, because they talked about how they've got more. I'm sure they do. I believe them. And really, I'm not trying to scare anybody away from going. I definitely recommend everybody go, honestly. If you can afford it, go. If you can't, there are a million scholarships out there. There's lots of financial aid. There's so many different ways for you to get the money to go to college. Sometimes you'll have to work your ass off to do it. But you know what? In the end, nowadays, it's crazy. I mean, I'm looking around at jobs, and college is the new high school. Like, if you have not gone to college, it seems to be a lot more difficult to get most jobs. I'm sure there'll be people telling me in the comments, no, trade school, Fanta. There's trade schools. Yes, but that's like another form of secondary schooling. That's like going to college. So go to schooling beyond high school is what I'm trying to say. Expand your knowledge further. Don't settle for retail. That was one of the main points of Tales from Retail. Because that horrible feeling I had when I was in college and about to graduate and then had graduated college and was still working at Walmart, I was devastated. I mean, I was working at GameStop throughout most of college. The store shut down. I lived off of the severance for a while. And then near the end, near graduation, I was like, you know what? I'll start working part-time at Walmart. I need the extra money to pay the bills. And then I was still working there after I graduated. And I was still working there for, I don't even remember how many months after I graduated. It felt like forever. I'd have to ask Steven if he remembers, but I guess I just try to block that part out of my mind. But it felt like I was working there for years. I mean, I didn't even work at that damn store for even a year, but it felt like I was working there for years after I had graduated. Because working at Walmart with a degree, having all those people look at you like you're a moron, people like look down at you, after you'd spent so much time, put in all that effort to get that 4-year degree, it felt so pointless. It all felt so pointless. And sometimes when I'm looking at jobs, it still is like, wow, I need how many years of experience? But it's crazy. After you graduate college, at least I was told, all you need is a degree. All you need is a degree, and you have so many doors that open up for you. And it's true. But the thing is there's so many other people out there that have just as much experience as you or more. Lots of people have more experience than you. I mean, I was going up against people that are twice my age for different jobs within my own company that I'm working at now. I mean, I can't compete with that. I mean, these are people that were managing 20, 30, sometimes 40 people. And then I go for that job and it's like, this person's got 10, 15 years of experience. They've managed like an entire crew. I understand why you're going to pick them. My manager's like, yeah, I mean, you could do this job. You really could. But I mean, we got to hire this person. And it's like, I get it, That's how it is. And it's devastating how slow it feels like your life moves. I guess it depends, it really depends on the degree you choose. And I had an idiot counselor, really. So let's dive in the beginning of college a little bit. So I had a moron counselor that basically told me that the first 2 years, it didn't matter if I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was just taking gen eds. And when I finally got to my second year, I was like, look, I don't know what I should be going after. I still don't know what I want to do. I guess I'll keep pursuing business. And then they're like, oh, well, you haven't completed all the right classes yet. You're going to have to tack on another couple years. I'm like, what are you talking about? You told me that it was okay to be undeclared because I originally declared as a business degree. That's kind of the generic degree a lot of people go for in college because it's the one that just sounds the most like you're going to get a job. That being said, I haven't really seen that many jobs out there that are looking for a business degree. And I know there's probably a specific type of degree that it's called. Maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. I mean, I don't have it, so I'm not looking for it. But I remember it was some sort of business degree, some general business degree. And I was heartbreaking to hear that I'd put in all this effort, but because they gave me the wrong information, I was going to be screwed. So I picked creative writing, which was like English, but with a writing focus. And I was like, lots of jobs need writers, lots of jobs. And I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed writing a lot. So I went into that. And then I minored in journalism. So I was like, I love, writing game reviews, doing stuff like that. I was doing some freelancing on the side for the local newspaper. And I was listening about how these people got into companies like IGN, GameSpot, Game Trailers, Giant Bomb, all that kind of stuff. I had grown up watching Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb, all the people on X-Play, and I loved keeping up with all this news, reading Game Informer while I was working, at GameStop. And even when I was a kid, I loved those magazines coming in the mail. It was great. I wanted to work for these places. So that's why I picked that degree. Come to find out later, after I graduated, because I didn't look beforehand like an idiot, that all these places are in California. And of course, all these people that I aspired to be like Adam Sessler, despite whatever your political beliefs are, that guy is amazing when it comes to games journalism. When it comes to reviewing and critiquing a game, when it comes to just talking, just giving his opinion on things. It's just, I wanted to keep listening to him. And that's what really inspired me to do these style videos, besides Red Letter Media, besides Angry Video Game Nerd, besides countless other people. But Adam Sessler and the Sessler Soapbox, where he just basically just talks about his opinion on stuff. I mean, I was glued to that. I remember listening to it on my video iPod. I remember those things? Those were sick. I don't even know what the hell happened to mine. I missed that thing. If Apple still made the video iPod, I would buy another one, but they're morons, and all they have is the Apple iPod Touch or whatever it's called. It's like hidden. Anyway, I used to watch the Sessler Soapbox. I used to watch the MMO Report. I used to rewatch reviews for entertainment because I loved just the way they talked about the games, the way they went in depth, the way they discussed their opinions. And the Sessler Soapbox would also talk about things that were going on in the industry. Now I listen to Jim Sterling, a bunch of other people. I used to listen to Total Biscuit. Rest in peace, man. People like that have, really inspired me to want to do the same thing. But like I said, all those jobs are in California. And you look at how much those jobs pay as opposed to how much rent is in California and how much taxes there are and how many different crazy laws there are and all this crap you have to put up with. Because they're all in California. All of them. And I was like, well, maybe I'll get into a game company. And now, I wouldn't even want to think about it. It's such a mess. You look at the games industry. Blizzard is a company I was looking at that I wanted to work in. I was really interested in that because they did have some entry-level positions for college students or college grads. And they had internships. But now I'm not even looking at that site anymore. I used to look all the time at Blizzard to see if they were hiring on for people because I loved their games. But now, they laid off how many people? Was it like 800? It's such a volatile industry to get into. I can't even imagine getting a job in that industry now. It'd be terrifying. Your company could be making so much money and you're laid off anyway. I could be marketing some BS about a game. I could be lying to thousands of people because I'm told to tell people this shit. And then when it comes out, it doesn't have all the features that I was paid to put out to these people. So now it's like, I don't even want to do that anymore. And I know I've kind of veered off from college and I've kind of just started discussing. It's relevant, this is what I was thinking about in college and this is what I was thinking about shortly after college and this is what I'm thinking about now. Because in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I was like, writer, sounds great. I've always loved games journalism. I've always loved discussing video games. I've been doing it for like 5 years at GameStop. I've been looking at videos since I was a kid. I've been watching G4. I've been doing all these different things. I read Adam Sessler's thing about how he got into the whole thing and how he worked on his writing and how he discussed the games and how he forms his opinions. And I watched him on Rev 3 Games, and man, I followed this guy throughout his entire career up until he basically doesn't do anything anymore that has to do with games. And then I come to find out that basically the only way to get in the industry is to already be somebody. If you want to get in. If you want to be in games journalism, you have to be already successful. And then I was like, well, why would I want to go to California and work for one of these companies that are losing their reputation like IGN? Why would I want to work at IGN? I don't know. I don't want to live in a crappy little apartment. I don't want to deal with that awful traffic and the countless other things you have to deal with living in a big city. If I'm already made it, then I might as well just do it on my own. So I got my job that I have now, and I started working on this YouTube channel, and I started doing game reviews, but nobody's really watching, and I was putting tons of hours into it. And then I decided to do a couple Tales from Retail, just spur of the moment, whatever. It was another not so great time in my life. It was a good way to vent. And then that catches off, that kind of takes off, and I just kind of go with that for a while. I completely drop reviews. I completely stopped doing that because I started to go really hard at it because my buddy Dreamcast guy was starting to catch fire. He was, man, when I first met him, he's at 4,000 subscribers, but when I first started talking to him, I knew that guy was going to make it. I knew his channel was going to blow up. And he seemed, well, he is such a cool guy, and he seemed like such a cool guy at the time. I was like, this guy's a cool guy. He's putting in the work. He's kicking ass at this. He's beating these games insanely fast. He's putting out great reviews. They're well-polished videos. I need to start working as hard as he is. So I basically took all my free time and started trying to review games just as much as he did. And man, I got burnt out so fast. Buying those games, day one, sitting down, playing them. I don't know how game reviewers do it. It would probably be a lot easier if that was my only job. But I really do have to respect the people that even work for those companies. If they're actually doing their job correctly, if they're doing it like Dreamcast guy, if they're doing it like a lot of these online reviewers that are actually diligent and putting in the time and effort to actually play through the entire game, and they're not ripping off other people, I gotta give them respect. Because, I mean, movie reviews, they're difficult in their own aspect, but movies are not 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 hours long. And you gotta have some real patience, and you gotta play through some real shit if you're in game reviews. I mean, my lord. There are people that had to play Imagine Babies. All those Imagine games. People were paid and had to play those games. Respect to those people. So anyway, this kind of went off the rails. I kind of went too far of beginning and then moved past all the middle, which I'll talk about, and then, at the end. But I hope this gives you a nice taste of what I'm thinking of doing for College Chronicles. If you guys enjoy the idea, let me know down below. Let me know in the Discord. We do have a Discord. Lots of people have gone there. They've talked to me. It's great. Still doing that GameStop review thing. There is a GameStop channel within the or GameStop, what is it? A server channel? I don't know. Inside the Discord, there is a GameStop section. You can put your videos, your pictures, because I'm still going to do that review series of your GameStop. Review your GameStop. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but got a lot of stuff in the works. Channel's kind of a slump right now, but I've been sick, so I can't really do anything about that. And hopefully we'll get that new Back to the Futon podcast up as soon as I am confident that I'm not going to give Eric the flu. I don't want to get him sick, but I do want to get that recorded. So Maybe tomorrow we'll get that recorded. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure it out. But believe me, I'm just as sad as you guys are that we haven't been able to record it yet. I love doing it with him. That sounded wrong, but I'm leaving it in. I love doing the podcast with him. It's a ton of fun, and it'll hopefully be up by middle or end of next week. Maybe sooner. But again, if it's 2 to 3 hours, it takes a long time to edit. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. Like if you guys like this new series. Comment down below what you hope to see in this series. And as always, even if you're sick like me, have a fantastic day. See you guys.